What's going on, Raider Nation? I hope you're sitting down because what I'm about to tell you is going to shake the very foundation of everything you thought you knew about this franchise. We're talking about updates that are cutting deeper than a Khalil Mack strip sack, hitting harder than a Charles Woodson interception return, and more explosive than anything we've seen since the glory days of the Black Hole. And today, we've got 3 stories that are going to make your Raider blood boil with anticipation. A veteran receiver who's been criminally underrated despite putting up elite numbers, a defensive powerhouse who's been flying under the radar while quietly becoming the anchor this defense desperately needs. And a situation so bizarre, so unprecedented, that it's rewriting the entire script of what we thought we knew about loyalty, money, and the brutal politics of professional football. If you bleed silver and black, smash that subscribe button, drop your hottest takes in the comments, and let's show the world that Raider Nation dominates every corner of the internet. Because what's happening inside the walls of Allegiant Stadium right now isn't just football news. It's the kind of drama that legends are built on. If you think you've heard it all from this organization, think again. Because what's unfolding in Henderson could completely redefine what it means to wear the Raiders jersey, and trust me, you're not ready for the twists that are coming. The stories I'm about to share aren't just about players. They're about pride, respect, and the kind of behind-the-scenes chaos that only the Raiders could deliver with this level of intensity. So buckle up, nation, because this ride is about to get wild, and by the time we're done, you're going to understand why this season might be the most important in franchise history. Let's dive into the madness that is the Las Vegas Raiders, where every practice is a statement, every quote is loaded with meaning, and every decision echoes through the soul of the most passionate fan base in the NFL. The first story begins with a player who embodies everything we love about the Raider way. Consistency, toughness, and an absolutely ruthless work ethic that puts supposed superstars to shame. We're talking about a guy who caught over 1,000 yards last season and literally didn't drop a single pass, not one, making him the only receiver in the entire NFL to achieve that level of perfection. But here's the kicker. Nobody's talking about him. Nobody's giving him the respect he's earned. And that's about to change in a big way. This isn't just another receiver having a decent camp. This is a technician, a surgeon with his route running, a player so reliable that even Chip Kelly, a coach who's seen elite talent at every level, can't stop raving about what he brings to this offense. When your offensive coordinator says you showed up in a major way during training camp, when he's talking about your versatility like you're some kind of Swiss Army knife that can line up anywhere and dominate, you know something special is brewing. But what really gets me fired up about this situation is the leadership aspect. We're talking about a player who understands that individual success means nothing without team success, who's taking the younger guys under his wing and making sure this entire receiving corps elevates together. He's not worried about recognition or respect from the outside world. He's focused on making sure that when Geno Smith drops back to pass, there's always going to be a reliable target ready to make the play. The connection between him and Smith is already evident, even just days into camp. There's a comfort level there, a chemistry that you can't manufacture or force. And when you combine that with the versatility to play inside, outside, even line up in tight end positions when the formation calls for it, you're looking at a player who could be the secret weapon that unlocks this entire offensive system. This is a player who recorded over 1,000 receiving yards last season while playing on a team that was still figuring out its identity. Now, with the best supporting cast of his professional career, with an offensive coordinator who knows how to maximize talent, and with a quarterback who already trusts him completely, we're potentially looking at a breakout season that's going to make people realize what Raider Nation has known all along. This guy is special. The way he talks about the team-first mentality, about wanting everyone to eat, about understanding that collective success leads to individual recognition. That's pure Raiders DNA right there. That's the kind of mentality that turns good teams into great teams and great teams into champions. When he says everybody gets paid when everybody wins, he's not just talking about contracts, he's talking about respect, legacy, and the kind of bonds that make championship runs possible. But just when it seemed like this was the biggest story coming out of Henderson, another narrative began to emerge from the defensive side of the ball. And trust me, what's happening with the silver and black defense is going to change everything you thought you knew about this team's potential. We're shifting gears now to a story that's been brewing quietly in the background, but is about to explode into the spotlight in a way that's going to make every Raiders fan stand up and take notice. This isn't about flashy headlines or social media highlights. This is about the kind of foundational work that championship defenses are built on, the kind of player development that transforms promising talent into game-changing forces. The defensive line has been the heart and soul of great Raiders teams throughout history, from the days of Howie Long to the modern era of Khalil Mack and Max Crosby. And right now there's a player who's taking that legacy and running with it in ways that are making coaches, teammates, and anyone paying attention realize that we might be witnessing the emergence of something truly special. When Max Crosby, a player who knows elite talent when he sees it, starts talking about someone with the kind of enthusiasm and respect that makes you stop and listen, you know something significant is happening. We're talking about a player who's getting reps in multiple positions, showing the kind of versatility and football IQ that defensive coordinators dream about, and doing it all with the kind of quiet confidence that veteran players respect and young players aspire to emulate. The development we're seeing isn't accidental. This is the result of countless hours in the film room, extra work after practice, and a kind of dedication to improvement that separates good players from great ones. The physical tools were always there, the size, the athleticism, the raw power that can disrupt offensive game plans, but now we're seeing the mental side of the game come together in ways that are making this player virtually unstoppable in certain situations. What's really impressive is how this development is impacting the entire defensive unit. When you have a player who can line up in multiple positions and be effective, it opens up so many strategic possibilities for the defensive coordinator. Suddenly, you can create confusion for opposing offensive lines, you can generate pressure from unexpected angles, and you can keep quarterbacks guessing about where the next rush is coming from. The coaching staff has clearly identified this player as a key component of their defensive vision moving forward. The increased responsibilities, the trust being placed in crucial situations, the way veteran teammates are talking about the potential they see, all of this points to someone who's about to make a major impact on this defense in ways that are going to surprise people who haven't been paying close attention to what's happening in practice. But the most encouraging aspect of this story is the leadership development that's happening alongside the on-field growth. This isn't just about individual statistics or personal accolades. This is about a player who understands their role in the larger defensive scheme and is committed to making everyone around them better. That's the kind of mentality that creates dominant defensive units, the kind of selfless approach that turns good defenses into legendary ones. The technical improvements are obvious to anyone watching the practices. The hand placement, the leverage, the ability to read and react to different blocking schemes, all of these fundamentals are coming together at exactly the right time. And when you combine that technical growth with the natural physical advantages and the increasing football intelligence, you're looking at a player who could be ready to take a major step forward this season. As the defensive room buzzed with excitement about the potential they were witnessing, as coaches started drawing up new packages and schemes to maximize this emerging talent, another story was quietly developing in the background. And this story, this situation that was about to explode into the public consciousness, was unlike anything anyone in the organization had ever experienced. But hang oil, Raider Nation, because what's coming next is going to flip everything you thought you knew about professional football upside down. We're about to dive into a story so bizarre, so unprecedented, that it's going to make you question everything you thought you understood about loyalty, money, and the complex dynamics that exist behind the scenes in NFL locker rooms. This isn't just about football anymore. This is about human nature, about million-dollar decisions made in split seconds, about reputations built over years being destroyed in moments, and about the kind of drama that could only happen in the unpredictable world of professional sports. The player at the center of this storm was supposed to be a cornerstone of this franchise's future, a game-changing addition that was going to anchor the defense for years to come. We're talking about a situation that started with a 4-year, $110 million contract. The kind of deal that's supposed to provide stability and championship-level talent. This was a player with an impeccable reputation, a leader who had been beloved in his previous stops, someone who seemed to represent everything positive about professional football. Community work, fan favorite status, the kind of personality that makes teammates better and organizations stronger. But what happened next is the kind of plot twist that nobody saw coming, the kind of development that makes you realize just how quickly things can change in this league. We're talking about a situation that escalated from a simple injury disagreement to something so strange, so unprecedented, that people who know the details are reluctant to even discuss it publicly. The injury situation itself was already complicated enough. A Jones fracture in the left foot suffered during the middle of the season, requiring delicate rehabilitation and potentially another surgery, but this player refused the recommended medical treatment, choosing instead to handle the recovery process in his own way. That kind of disagreement between player and team medical staff happens more often than people realize, but it usually doesn't lead to the kind of dramatic consequences we're about to discuss. What transformed this from a typical player-organization dispute into something extraordinary was what happened next. According to multiple league insiders, there was an incident, and that's the word everyone keeps using, incident, with a teammate that was so unusual, so out of character, that it fundamentally changed how the organization viewed this player's future with the franchise. The details of this incident remain murky, and that's probably by design. NFL insider Josina Anderson, who has connections throughout the league and rarely reports on stories without solid sources, confirmed that something happened. Mitchell Renz went even further, describing the situation as weird, like a very weird incident. When veteran NFL reporters who have seen everything in this league describe something as unusually strange, you know we're dealing with unprecedented territory. What makes this story even more remarkable is the financial implications. We're talking about a franchise that decided to void over $35 million in guaranteed money, the kind of decision that organizations don't make lightly. For a team to walk away from that kind of investment, to essentially admit that they made a massive mistake in evaluation, something truly significant must have happened behind the scenes. The timing of the release adds another layer of intrigue to this entire situation. This wasn't a gradual deterioration of the relationship. This wasn't a slow burn that built up over months or years. This was a sudden, decisive action that caught everyone, including the player, completely off guard. One day he was a cornerstone of the franchise. The next day he was clearing out his locker and filing grievances through the NFLPA. The fact that multiple teams have shown interest despite all the red flags tells you everything you need to know about his talent level. This is a player who, when healthy and focused, can be a game-changing force on any defensive line in the NFL. But the combination of injury uncertainty and this mysterious incident has created a situation where front offices are proceeding with extreme caution. What's particularly fascinating about this story is how it challenges everything we thought we knew about this player's character and professionalism. For years, he had been the model of everything you want in a professional athlete. Community involvement, team leadership, the kind of personality that makes organizations better just by being present. And then, in what appears to be a matter of days or even hours, that entire reputation was called into question. The grievance filed through the NFLPA adds yet another dimension to this drama. The player and his representatives clearly believed that the release was unjustified, that the organization used behavioral conduct clauses as an excuse to get out of a contract that they regretted signing. That's a serious allegation that could have implications far beyond just this individual situation. As more details continue to emerge, as the various parties involved decide how much they're willing to reveal publicly, one thing becomes crystal clear. This isn't just about football anymore. This is about reputation, about truth, about the complex power dynamics that exist between players and organizations in the modern NFL. This is about how quickly a career can change direction, how a single incident can overshadow years of positive contributions. The broader implications for the Raiders are equally significant. This was supposed to be a foundational player, someone who would anchor their defense for years to come. Now they're left with a massive hole to fill, both financially and strategically, while also dealing with the public relations challenge of explaining why they made such a dramatic decision. For the player at the center of this storm, the road ahead is uncertain in ways that seemed impossible just a few weeks ago. Teams are interested, but they're also cautious. Agents are fielding calls, but they're also managing a narrative that has become increasingly complicated. This is a player who went from being one of the most coveted defensive linemen in the league to someone whose future is clouded by questions that nobody seems willing to answer directly. And that player, the one whose story has captivated and confused the entire NFL community, the one whose departure from Las Vegas has created more questions than answers, the one whose future now hangs in the balance between talent and controversy, that player was Christian Wilkins. And his story represents everything unpredictable and unforgiving about professional football in 2025. So here we are, Raider Nation, staring at 3 stories that perfectly capture the complexity of your franchise right now. You've got Jacoby Myers proving that consistent excellence often goes unrecognized. You've got Tyree Wilson developing into the kind of defensive force that championship teams are built around. And you've got the Christian Wilkins situation serving as a stark reminder that in the NFL, everything can change in an instant. The question isn't whether this team has talent. Clearly they do. The question isn't whether they have potential. That's obvious to anyone paying attention. The real question is whether they can navigate the complexities of professional football, the injuries and the politics and the personality conflicts long enough to realize that potential on the field where it matters most. If this fired you up, don't forget to smash that like button, drop your boldest takes in the comments, and subscribe because Raider Nation's story is just getting started. This season is going to be unlike anything we've seen before, and you're going to want to be along for every twist, every turn, and every moment of glory that's coming our way. Because this story, our story, is just getting started.